name is Jonathan Cumberbatch. Just beginning the first part of a videography that we want to put together regarding the publication of my first book called Primary Colors. Thought it would be a good idea to speak to or show the process that we went through from getting the jottings and drafts all the way through to the published book. Uh, Thought I would talk a bit about myself. Always been writing bits and pieces of poetry, oftentimes page longs that I would never sit comfortable with me. Two of my major influences I should speak to, and I'll come to them a little later as well, being Hemingway and Toni Morrison. And of course, they were famous for their great attention to prose, to sentences, often taking weeks and months to finalize how the sentence should be, that it carried the truth and the power for which they were seeking. Uh, Giving you some examples I put together here. The poems would sometimes be written in the typical letter size yellow notepad. Some were put together on the old Windows 3.1 in my university years. I actually printed out some of those manuscripts from then. And over in recent times, what I've found, apart from just writings on other types of notepads, the note apps on your phone have come in pretty handy when I'm sitting waiting, whenever the inspiration comes. At airports, at car parks, it can come at any time, and you just jot it down and you can email it to yourself. Email goes eventually to the good old laptop, and of course, you copy, you save, you put it together, and then you come back from time to time to see how it still sits with you. Speaking to the influences, I put together a little collection here just to show Morrison, which I mentioned earlier, The Bluest Eye, a short, brilliant read, and just a perfect example of powerful sentences, a powerful story that just sits with you years, decades after. I'm not a snob, and I don't think one should be considered anything else to be a fan of Stephen King. This amazing gift for storytelling and keeping the baton going in the narrative, the propulsive narrative, is something that is envied the world over. He wrote a brilliant book on the art of writing and the ethic that makes sure that you don't just sit on your inspiration, or you just don't get one off and that's it. It's essential reading for anyone who wants to get into any type of writing. Stephen King on writing. Chinua Achebe, of course, Things Fall Apart. Metaphorical, simple story that, of course, reverberates and is profound and speaks to many other things about a society, what holds society together, what holds relationships together. The cracks that are almost always there, and what we do to either make it worse or we try to make it better. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, I have General in his Labyrinth here, but of course 100 Years of Solitude remains one of the pillars of modern literature that should be checked out. Surrealism, magic realism, it's all there, and just literally a natural part of the story. Cormac McCarthy, again, one of the disciples of concise, effective, brilliant prose. Every sentence, nothing is wasted, every sentence put to use. The Road is a life-changing book. Again, I just can't see, you can't be into reading, you can't be into literature without having come across it. It makes you, in my opinion, a better person. And of course, well, Papa, as they called him then, Hemingway. You can't go wrong with pretty much any of the famous novels he wrote, and the ones that were published posthumously as well. But the complete short stories is a good place to start. Crystallizes what I'm talking about in terms of the paring down of lengthy exposition, expressions into the bare minimum, and bringing the effectiveness and beauty and truth in what you want to speak to. Uh, I'll stop at this point and I'll go on to part two. There's a process where I have to go for a photo shoot, and we'll talk about the process of that in the second part. Okay.